So the out of bounds neighborhood that I covered was the neighborhood of 2400 St. Paul Street, Baltimore, Maryland. The notable thing about this neighborhood that I found fascinating was the fact that it's nicknamed the Black Wall Street due to the sort of abnormal amount of black owned businesses that line up the street. A cool thing I liked about this podcast is the fact that they streamline a bunch of people, a bunch of business owners who say their name and also their business in the very beginning of the podcast. It sort of sets up the stage. It's only part one of the podcast, but they talk to a couple, I think about half of their of total amount of business owners that they wanted to talk to, which I think is 17. And the the whole atmosphere at the beginning of the video denotes and shows the presence of black excellence and success within Baltimore, despite what you would hear on the news. And I just found this podcast, just from the description when I was reading it, to be very intriguing because I always love to see it when there's a news coverage or any coverage that shows black African Americans in a more positive light than what you're used to seeing in terms of mass incarceration, getting shot by the police, or a racial incident. Nothing that has to do with conflict per se, but just a general goodness or a good feeling from a story. I just love feeling that. So the podcast goes on and talks to a couple different owners, and they sort of interviews them about their story. And some of them goes from I'll talk about like what you like about the city or your favorite food, to something to more personal details about their past. And I found that really fascinating. The first one I want to talk about is the barbershop. It's this guy who he barbs hair for a living, but he also holds a passion for music and creating beats, like electronically. And he goes after like a session of cutting someone's hair. He would go in the back and create music out loud in the sitting area while people are sort of there, like listening to him, watching him creating music. A little bit about his personal story was he didn't really know his father until he was 22. He didn't know his father at all until he was 22, and they don't really go into that, but I bet he was imprisoned for that matter, for that reason. And I think that but one thing that people would say about his father was that he wasn't really into music. So that's like that connection, that bridging the gap between those two. And he sort of like wants to create a spiritual place within the barbershop, allowing people to just come in, relax, create a sort of a zone where all the tensions sort of leave the barbershop, or sort of like once you enter, it's gone. And I really love that about that place. Another business is a woman with a flower shop, and she's sort of nicknamed Sunflower because she's like really fond of sunflowers. And one notable thing about her is that she doesn't when they dug deep about her personal story or like the things she doesn't like, so they asked her a series of questions about her tastes, or just like short questions that can have longer answers. So one of them was, one of the things you don't enjoy. And she said, like, first she said religion, but then she went in even deeper to collectives. And she went on about how she doesn't like how people try to group and divide others. And she strives to like see or allow people to develop in their own way or fashion. And I thought that was really cool. She likes to think about her past and wonder about how far she's come. One more that I want to talk about is Chef Terrence William. He's a owner of a sort of this food shop. He's proud of the fact that he sort of like makes everything, and he does a lot for the community itself. He provides food for the homeless. He gives opportunities for people struggling, provides a place of comfort and just in pure enjoyment and a lot of people, a lot of the employees, a lot of the regular customers respect him for it. And in summation of the neighborhood, only got like half of a glimpse of it, and there were a couple more businesses that they interviewed, like yoga instructor, and she of course probably went on she of course went on about spirituality and sort of finding your center. And I just really enjoyed this podcast in this neighborhood because of highlights like the good things that can arise from a predominantly black neighborhood, and a community that can come together and that can flourish. So, thank you.